Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here, and in this episode of The Hypnotist, I'm going to be doing a hypnosis session based around the idea of luck. And for me, I think I'm a natural skeptic, so unless things can be proven to be the case, I'm kind of more on the side of disbelief than belief. And there's certain things that I think naturally I'm quite cynical about, but when I look at them through the lens of psychology and how the mind works, it changes for me the meaning of them. So things like religion, for example, I'm an atheist, but I do see how religion can be really helpful and useful for people to change their emotional states and to give them reassurance and resourceful feelings when they're going through a crisis. So I don't have to believe in a religion to see the benefit of religion. Equally, something like the law of attraction. Now, do I believe that at some level the universe gives any kind of attention to an individual and wants them to have nice things if they do good things? In all honesty, I don't. What I do believe, though, is the idea that if someone believes they can do something, if they've got a positive intention, they're probably going to activate the resources and trigger a process known as the reticular activating system. So they pay more attention to those things that increase the probability of the very thing happening. So when people say that they manifested a car, what they're really saying is that they wanted that car and then they did what was necessary to get that car. Now, is that manifesting? Kind of it is, because you're doing what's required. But the idea that it magically just appeared, isn't really true. There's also an element of cognitive bias and selective attention, because, if someone reads a horoscope, for example, and there's one phrase in there that says, you're going to have some really good luck coming your way. Now, in many ways, that's like a post-hypnotic suggestion. There is an expectation that something lucky is going to happen, so they're already more receptive to those kind of things. If then, over the next few days or a week, they win maybe a scratch card on the lottery, or some good news comes their way, they can then go back to that astrology reading or horoscope and say, that's, I was promised that good luck was going to come my way, and here it is. So at some level, it creates a positive expectation, but I think a lot of people cherry pick the things that kind of prove their belief system to be true. None of this is good or bad. It's just a way of looking at things. So for me, luck is one of those things. Do I think that some people genuinely are luckier than other people? I do, but not from the sense that the universe wants them to be lucky and to have nice things. I think it's because they're open-minded to good things happening. So it's more principles like I would say self-fulfilling prophecy or accessing resourceful states. There was a particular episode, I think it was Darren Brown's Trick or Treat, where there was a guy who was saying that he's the unluckiest person in the country. And they engineered it so that all he had to do to win things and therefore be lucky was do like a very basic survey or do certain things. But he shut down the possibility because in his head, all these things are a con, all these things are a waste of his time. So the self-fulfilling prophecy works for and against. If you believe that you're unlucky, quite often you're going to miss the opportunities, and therefore that proves that you are unlucky. So this hypnosis session based around luck is based on that principle. It creates a belief system, an expectation that you are luckier, and therefore creates an intention to do whatever is necessarily, largely unconsciously, to increase the possibility of luck coming your way. So for my personal experience, for example, I've been quite fortunate in business and investments, but a large part of that was from my own attitude to risk. If I believed that all investments were a con, or that property investing was too risky, or that to set up a business at the age of 23, which I did, was a silly thing, then I wouldn't have done those things, and therefore I wouldn't have had quote unquote the fortune or the luck that I actually did get. So having a belief that good things come your way, I think, changes your attitude to risk. So anyway, that's the pretense for this hypnosis session, just so I don't get people thinking, oh, Adam's hypnotizing people to magically get lucky, and they're going to win the lottery and all this kind of stuff. Someone has to win the lottery. Even though the probability is very low, these things still happen. But you're not going to win the lottery if you never buy a ticket. Not that I'm suggesting you buy lottery tickets, because I don't think it's a good return on that investment. But if you never do anything, you never get any results. So therefore, a metaphor that I use in my life is that, if you keep rolling the dice, sooner or later you're going to get a double six. Sooner or later you're going to get a positive outcome. And some things don't cost anything to roll that dice, So that's the pretense. The destination, if we're treating this a bit like a random hypnosis session, I'm going to use Las Vegas just because it's a city based on this idea of fortune and luck, and I'm wearing a Las Vegas t-shirt here right now. The emotion, I'm not going to randomly generate emotions because the emotion or the resource here is luck, but I am going to generate 3 random nouns to create an element of variety here. And I'm also going to choose one of the Mike Mandel hypnotic language cards so I can kind of fuse this into this session. So I'm going to, in fact, what I'll do, I'll pick the language card now. Those on YouTube can see me shuffling the deck. Maybe you can hear on the podcast that I'm shuffling. I'm going to cut it in the middle. And this is, this is the Queen of Clubs. So if you're familiar with the Mike Mandel hypnotic language cards, you can check this yourself. It's the Queen of Clubs. The more X, the more Y. And by the way, if you're interested in these, I think if you go to mikemandel.com, you can get these for free. That's certainly how I did it. Great training academy, very talented people that organize it. So Mike Mandel and Chris Thompson, check that out. Definitely, if you're into hypnosis, check out their website. But one of the things they have is these hypnotic language cards. So a deck of cards, normal playing cards, but they've got these kind of hypnotic language phrases. So this one here, the more X, the more Y, this is a pattern that's really easy to use. The power lies in its simple repetition, which makes it very easy to learn. So here's an example on the card itself. The more you search for that old pain, the further away it floats. And the more you learn to feel good again, the more enjoyable your life will become. So it's an element of a suggestion linked to causality. So quite often you hear that in post-hypnotic suggestions, but it's sometimes framed as, when you're in this situation, you will feel this. This is, the more X happens, the more Y. So this is going to fuse in with this concept of luck, based in the idea of being in Las Vegas, which obviously is a city with lots of casinos, and therefore the idea of people can be lucky or unlucky in that particular case. I'm going to share my screen now so we can see the random nouns. 3 random nouns. We've got frozen, pier, and pure. Frozen. So, obviously most people would look at that. You've got the element of when water gets to 0 degrees, it freezes, but every gas and liquid has a point of that it becomes a solid. Pier, and this is not pier as in peers. So your colleagues, your associates, but pier as in something that goes into water, P-I-E-R, and then pure, which for most people, they would say you get the authentic, undiluted version of something, the pure version, and then you get things that are watered down or diluted. So I'm going to infuse these 3 nouns into the session, but the session is about luck, and I'm going to start very soon. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen for those watching on YouTube. I've got my 15-minute sand timer here, so it's going to be about 15 minutes long in terms of the hypnosis. So find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in, and as you breathe in, imagine breathing in a feeling of calm and resourceful relaxation. And as you exhale, allow your body to release that tension, enabling you to feel deeper and deeper relaxed. As you breathe in and breathe out, if it's safe to do so, on the next outward breath, allow your eyelids to close, and in doing so, enables you to enrich your hypnotic experience. Because the more you pay attention to my words, the more you truly get to experience hypnosis. Some people say that hypnosis is just suggestion. Some people say that hypnosis is when your attention goes inwards rather than outwards. Some people consider it a specific, unique state, a trance. And the more you allow your mind to become open to all the possibilities as to what hypnosis is, the more powerful a hypnotic experience you'll experience. I want you to use the power of your imagination to imagine a dynamic city. I want you to imagine that if you were an alien species visiting Earth, the city that would look the most like a galactic runway there in the middle of a desert would be the city of Las Vegas in Nevada. From up above, with these giant hotels on either side of what's known as the Strip, wouldn't it look like the perfect place to perhaps visit? And you're not an alien creature, but you can still imagine Las Vegas at nighttime from above. And from above, you can see some of the most impressive, grandiose hotels that have ever been built. Things of huge scale, impressive fountains, incredibly tall buildings, and perhaps different themes. Some might be the theme of a giant pyramid, or perhaps something that might remind you of ancient Rome or Renaissance Italy. And I want you to imagine that you get to choose one of these hotels as a place to imagine that you're no longer above Las Vegas looking down. You're now in one of these hotels. Not just any, but the most impressive hotel that you have an affinity with. Perhaps you've seen or even been there. But you are in the presidential suite, the most impressive room in the entire hotel. The kind of room that is designed for the super wealthy, celebrities, Perhaps even those high-profile performers that actually perform in the entertainment venues below. There you are in this grand suite. I want you to look around and feel a sense of luxury and scale. Maybe imagine looking out of the windows and seeing that skyline, seeing the bright lights. Maybe from very high, looking down, and get a sense that you're actually there. And the more of those things that you notice, perhaps the wallpaper, the carpet, the buildings outside of the window, the more you notice these things, the more this experience becomes hypnotic for you. You can listen to my voice, listen to the sounds, and the more you do so, the more you're able to experience something that could have the ability to increase good things happening in your future. I want you to imagine there is a large, soft, comfortable bed somewhere in this impressive suite. Climb on the bed, feel the softness, perhaps of the covers of the mattress, put your head on the pillow, and very soon I'm going to count down from 5 to 1, and in doing so, you will imagine going into a deep, deep sleep. 5. Feeling the weight of your arms kind of sinking into those covers. 4. Breathing in, breathing out, taking you deeper and deeper, relaxed. 3. Legs feeling heavier and heavier. 2. As you breathe in and breathe out, notice that the more you relinquish the desire to force a breath, the more your body is intending to take you deeper and deeper relaxed. That's right. 2 and 1. Imagine what it would be like. Imagine what it would be like to fall asleep there. Imagine a pure sleep, a deep sleep. That's right. And then imagine that you are so fast asleep that you're now dreaming that you're in the same room, in the same hotel in Las Vegas, and you can see that sleeping body of yours there on the bed. And I want you to imagine that that version of you is in such a deep trance. To the outside world, they look frozen, lifeless. Not because they are, but because they're in such a deep, deep sleep that they appear frozen. And I also want you to imagine that any negative emotions, feelings, memories are also frozen. And that you right now are just your imagination experiencing what you experience. I want you to imagine that in the same way that a pier is necessary to take people from land into water, what if an induction, this version of you sleeping there on the bed, is the pier that enables you to go from conscious to unconscious, to tap into deep, powerful resources deep in your unconscious mind, the purest of all those resources. And there, before you leave the room, before you open that door that takes you to the rest of the hotel, I want you to imagine that you are going back to a specific memory when you felt lucky. Not just an average element of luck. I want you to remember a time when you felt the purest, most authentic version of luck. That things just seem to go your way. Remember that time. And the more you remember the details of that time, the more you are able to access that resource of luck. See yourself as someone else, and what you see is someone lucky, experiencing incredible good fortune. Things just went your way. And the more you notice facial expressions and how you breathed, how you moved, the more able you are to mimic that in your own experience. And then, in the same way that sleeping on the bed was the pier to your unconscious mind, imagine that seeing yourself there with the most luck you've ever had, imagine that stepping into your body is the pier to enable you to access the purest form of that luck, and then do so. Step into that version of you. So now you are experiencing the memory as if you're reliving the memory. Adjust your facial expressions, your breathing to match and mirror the version of you that felt so lucky all the way back then. And then notice where in your body you feel that luck. Any resourceful state, any feeling has a location, and the more you pay attention to where that location is, the more you can notice the distinctions around it. Maybe it's in your chest, your gut, or perhaps your head. And the more you pay attention, the more you could begin to notice is it moving? Maybe the sensation is pulsating or rotating. And then you become aware of what would happen if you increased and amplified that feeling of luck inside you. If it's moving, make it move faster. Make the size bigger. If it has a color, make that color brighter. And if it starts to shine, make it shine even brighter so it starts to glow, and know that that location is where luck is for you. And you don't need to believe in luck. You just need to accept the suggestion that if you are open-minded to good things happening, you proportionally increase the likelihood of good things happening. The more open you are to luck, the more you will experience luck. The more optimistic you can be about your future, and the more you trust in yourself, the more able you are to be willing to bet on yourself. And when you feel that luck in its purest form, then is the time to imagine you're back in that hotel room, and then open the door and make your way down to the casino area. But you make your way into the casino area feeling the purest form of luck within you. And then imagine that you start to gamble, maybe in the ground floor of this impressive hotel, the casino area. Whichever game is the most appealing for you, maybe roulette or blackjack or poker, or maybe the slot machines, but you already know that these games are just metaphors for things that you could do in your real life. Maybe these are career choices. Maybe these are projects or business ideas or investments. Whatever game you imagine playing in the casino, it just represents something real in your life. And then I want you to imagine that you are feeling lucky, really lucky. And whatever game you are playing there in that casino, you start to win. And feel how good it feels to win, to experience success, that joy, that happiness. Notice you don't win all the time, but you win more often than not. You have a higher statistical return than what should be happening, thereby proving that you are lucky and fortunate. And I want you to accept a suggestion to be true, that if you were to bet on one person in your life, doesn't it make sense to bet on yourself? Bet on your ability to learn. Bet on your ability to set goals and pursue them. Bet on your ability to get better. Because you can't control the variables in other people. But you can control the variables in you, how you spend your time, what you learn from your experiences. I want you to imagine that you are so lucky that you entertain an idea, a question if you will. What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? And then imagine that with this feeling of pure luck that you have, and a desire to bet on yourself, doesn't it make sense to spend your time pursuing those big, meaningful goals and projects that if they pay off, it feels like you could win big? Many people have such a desire to avoid risk at all costs that they live mediocre lives. Isn't it better to pursue something exciting, profound, powerful, and believe that you have the luck and the abilities to succeed? Imagine that this is a possibility for you, and the more you entertain the idea that you have a fortunate, compelling, successful future, the more you will unlock the motivation and the desire to do what's necessary to pursue it. Imagine if you never did anything, there would be 100% certainty that you wouldn't fail, but there would also be 100% certainty that you wouldn't succeed. Therefore, the only certainty is the limited time we have in this life. So why not? Take on board the mentality that you have good fortune on your side, that you have unlocked pure luck within you, and therefore you have a desire to start betting on yourself more in the future than you ever did in the past. And then imagine that you're back in that impressive hotel room, seeing yourself there on that bed fast asleep, that frozen body of yours, climb inside that, and then jump up out of the bed, but still notice that that feeling of pure luck is inside you. And the more that you accept that you are lucky, the more lucky you will become. And then you realize all of this is just a thought within a thought, a dream within a dream, an idea within an idea. And actually, you are listening to my voice firmly in the present. Take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Wiggle those fingers, wiggle those toes. Get a sense that you're in your own physical body right now, because very soon I will count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. You will awaken feeling resourceful, feeling a desire to pursue those meaningful, exciting goals and visions that you have for you, your dreams, but feeling a pure sense of luck that are increasing the likelihood of you achieving it. Starting to count to awaken you. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.
Okay, so I've just stopped the recording for the podcast recording. My thoughts on that particular episode, I found it quite interesting. And as I was doing the episode, I felt just a sense of how logical it is to believe that although you can't guarantee success, it does make sense to believe in the possibility of success because it increases the resources, the likelihood of any kind of victory there, or whatever success means to you. If you have any thoughts on that, please leave some comments in this YouTube video. If you liked the episode, please give it a like, maybe subscribe if you haven't already. And if you have any ideas for any future episodes or anything like that, please put them in the comments, because I'm always seeking inspiration for new hypnosis sessions to do. I'll continue to be going through these hypnotic language cards. Please check out Mike Mandel's website if you haven't already. And I'll also be introducing new random variables outside of nouns and emotions and hypnotic language patterns in future ones. My intention is to increase the variables of future episodes so that I increase my skill set for me, but also enrich the hypnotic experience for you that are watching or listening. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you again soon.